Welcome to another Driven Daily episode. So glad you have joined. Today we're going to be a little bit more casual. We're going to have a little bit more of a life update. We're going to have what's happening now in the next couple of months, especially with the Driven Daily channel. And we'll also do a Q&A. But also importantly, I've got some good content for you regarding the subject today, which is how to win 2024. Even before it starts, we're going to be dealing with how to win 2024. I just want to get everything settled, everything sorted out. If you are here in the chat, feel free to go ahead and say hi. We are live here on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's put some announcements on there. Now, just how we're going to start every one of these shows, we just want to recap the core values of the show. Not just the show, but the core values of this brand, Driven Daily. It's currently on the screen right there. And I just want to reiterate the 6 core values that we would need to embody. And if you're watching this right now, I believe that these 6 core values are what you embody as well. If not all 6, indeed a couple of these for sure. So number 1, God first. Number 2, unlimited ambition. Number 3, trust is everything. Number 4, train every day. Number 5, energy influences. And number 6, relationships matter. Now, the way I remember this and the way you can remember it too is by thinking of the word gutter. So Gutter. And each letter is the start of every word when it comes to the 6 core principles. But let's do a quick chat check. I see on Facebook we have Christy. Hey, Christy. Evans in the house. We have Albert. Hey, Albert, make sure to come and say hi when you enter in. Let me see, who else do we have here? Hope you're doing well, my brother. Let's do a couple of other screen shares over here. Just remember, if you are here, and as it says on the screen, that this show is to remind you on a daily basis, whether it's through the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music, or whether it's on the shorts on all the platforms, or whether it is on the YouTube channel with the long form content. It's to remind you that you are not just here on this planet to survive, but you are here to thrive. And my goal is to remind you of that every day. As you've probably seen on all platforms, we've really taken the shorts to the next level. So I want to encourage you, if you really enjoy the shorts that has been put out, I want to encourage you just to hang in there. There's more shorts coming that's really going to give you that extra jolt, 15 seconds, 15 to 1 minute jolt of inspiration. The plan really is to really do more when it comes to the YouTube channel. So we've uploaded the first YouTube video, which was the intro video. And now the plan is to, of course, upload more weekly when it comes to the long form YouTube videos. Let's check the chat. So Christy says, hey, Christy. How are you doing? I hope you are thriving on your side in your own way. Thanks for joining. She's a loyal one. We've just started recently, but I can see she's going to be a loyal one. We have Albert. And Albert says the Gutter. Awesome stuff. That's right. It spells gutter. And it just happened to spell it when I was drafting out the core values. And it's so interesting because that's where Many of us has come from the gutter, and look where we are right now. We may not be where we want to be, but we surely not where we used to be. So that's where we came from. I see my Aunt Linda giving some like action right there. A big like back to you. Say hey in the chat um, if you are still here, Linda. I see we have Jackie as well in the chat. Just to let you know that we're going to have a segment in the show where if you'd like to come on and ask a question, you have one of two options. You can send the question through the chat, through Facebook or YouTube, through the live stream, or you can actually come onto the broadcast. The one criteria, though, is for you to have your camera on, and I'll send you a link. I'll put the link in the chat. Let me do it right now. I'll put the link in the chat. And if you want to come on, feel free. This only works through YouTube. So if you're on Facebook and you want to chat with me face to face, ask a question, or just kick it and say hi, come through to the YouTube channel, which is Randall Mitchell, and you can come on through YouTube. Sure, feel free to use the link camera to on. Awesome. Awesome. So the link is sent on the YouTube side. So if you're on Facebook, hop over to the YouTube side. If you want to come on and hop on the screen with me, camera to be on, and we can chop it up. In fact, if you don't want the camera to be on, that's fine. But ideally for the camera to be on so we can see your beautiful face, and we can take it from there. So, hey, let's get straight into the show. Let's kick the show off by sharing with you some big announcements. So I'm happy to share with you that we've just crossed 60 downloads of the podcast episodes on Spotify and Apple Music. So a big salute to you. I'm going to slowly but surely get a nice soundboard here so we can have some applause and some sound effects. So a major salute to you for the support. It's clear that the podcast is really adding value. So a big shout out to you. And then secondly, we are going through to South Africa. So every year I go back home to South Africa. I go once a year back. And this year I'll be going from the 29th of December until the 11th of Jan. So I'll be there. It's spending my very first New Year's back home in South Africa. Can you believe it? In the past 13 years, I haven't been back home. I haven't spent New Year's with the family back home. So this is exciting for me. And the plan is not really to do any massive. For me, what really matters is that I'm able just to physically be there with them, right? So that will be from the 29th of December all the way till the 11th of Jan. So it's about 10, 11 days. So if you are on the chat right now, feel free to say hi in the chat. And also, number two, if you are wanting to join and ask a question or just chop it up, you can also do that by following the link. And the link is sent through YouTube. So go through to YouTube. We're live on YouTube as well. And then you click on the link and you're able to come live with me on the screen. And one of the criteria are make sure to have your screen on, your camera turned on when you're on the screen with me. It will be nice to see who I'm chatting with. But if that's not a possibility, come on, still come through. I see we have Kotatso in the house. My African brother that's located here in here where I'm at as well. So it's always nice to have a familiar face right here. In fact, he just came back from South Africa, and now I'm going through. Hey, we are traveling, eh? We're traveling from here back home. It's just back and forth. One thing I'm looking forward to when I'm back home is really a couple of things. Of course, firstly, it's really to give all my family members a big hug, all my friends, just show them love and affection. And then thereafter, we're getting straight into the food. Ay, ay, ay. Guys, there's no milk tart readily available here in Canada. Now, mind you, there are people that does make it, but you've got to order it, and the stuff is so expensive also. So let's have a quick chat check. See, we have Leonard Knoll in the house. Hey, Lenny. So Lenny is a school friend of mine, and it's nice to have people that you go way back with. And he says, "Hey, Mr. Mitchell, hope you well, sir. I'm doing very well, and I can't wait to be back home. So hopefully, if you've got time um, between the 29th and the 11th of Jan, let's do a quick chill session, right?" I see we have a Dane in the house showing some love. Lenny showing some love. Hey, Dane, if you're still in the house, say hey. Just to let you guys know, if you want to come onto the screen, we're going to have a session very soon where you can come live with me on the live. And that can only be done through the link that is sent via YouTube. So if you want to come live with me on screen, follow the link through YouTube, and it's currently in the comment section over there in YouTube. So in a bit, we're also going to talk about the main subject for today, which is how to win 2024, how to win it right now without breaking the bank and without the stress. I can't wait to share with you two major keys that has worked for me and is going to work for me again this year. And I'm sure it's going to work for you too. So make sure to stick around. But if you're on here right now, send me a hey. And also, if you want to come on and be with me on screen right here, feel free to follow the link through the YouTube live session. So if you're on Facebook, come through to the YouTube session and follow the link that's in the comments, and we can get you on top here as well. What else am I looking forward to when I'm back home? So like I said, the food, we're going to do some milk tart action. We're going to do some braai action. So for the Canadians that's listening to this, braai is another word for barbecue. Some barbecue action. Just some nice home cooked food, man. You know? Besides the food, just jamming with the family. So just having some good conversations. For me, that's the most impactful part of being back home, is where you can have meaningful conversations, because I tell you what, those conversations is what you remember for the rest of your life. And for me, that's priceless. I know they talk about the love languages, and one of the couple of the love languages are words of affirmation, and then there's another one which is action, another one which is more gift based. And for me, words of affirmation is very important. Of course, all is important, but the word aspect, come on, the word is very important. That's what I'm looking forward to. And also just joking around. So speaking about joking around, back home in South Africa, when I grew up, I lived in SA from till I was 24 years old. And allow me just to maybe share with you a bit about my upbringing, specifically this part. So back home, we make a lot of guy, man. So for those, hey, we're gonna have to interpret everything every time now, eh? We make a lot of guy, and what guy is, we make fun, like we make fun of people a lot. Like we like people watching, and we make fun of people, and we make fun of each other. And I remember myself and my cousin, my younger cousin, Lorenzo. We used to make so much. We used to be troublemakers. So things that we would do is and I think we were ahead of our time when it comes to the YouTube stuff. We used to we used to go, for example, to the mall, right? And we would be in the grocery store, and we would think, imagine, and walk through the frozen food section, and we tell ourselves, imagine we took a long, those frozen penny polonies, like a polony, but it's like a long sausage, man. And we think, imagine we took the sausage and we went up to random strangers, and so imagine this is the sausage, right? Random strangers, and we asked them, so can you share with us, what's your thoughts on love at first sight? And we thought about it, and we thought, let's do it. So can you imagine this? Myself and my cousin, we going up, and we asking people important questions with such ridiculousness right there. Can you imagine a piece of penny polony, a long sausage being held, with a very serious tone of voice? So, excuse me, sir, we have an important question to ask you for the viewers out there. Can you share with us what's your view? And you can't keep a straight face. Oh man, yes, Nicole, penny polony. For those that have just joined in, make sure to say hi. Hey Wayne, hey Santosh, hey Eloise. Make sure to say hi, and just so you know, if you want to join me on this live, where you can come on screen with me, there is a link through the YouTube live. So if you're on Facebook right now and if you want to come on just to ask a question or just to chop it up, feel free to come through the YouTube channel, which is Randall Mitchell, and I'll let you enter it on the screen. But yeah, and I think people, and I know people are doing it right now on YouTube. These funny skits and pranks. I think we need to, let me know in the chat if you think we need to do something like that when I'm back home in South Africa, and record it and upload it, where we do a funny skit. I remember, there's so much stories, and I can't, there's some stories I can't tell. Maybe whenever this channel gets a Patreon and we have some, we just give you a little bit of the juice there through a paywall. We can, hey, because some of the stuff is, hey, it's insane, incriminating, hey. You're not going to jail just because you're exposing yourself on YouTube. The one thing we did was, and one day I think I'm going to get him on here, and we should actually chat about this, and he can verify that everything I'm saying here is 100%. Let me just do a quick chat check. Nicole, tell us about UWC, University of the Western Cape. What do you want to know? There's it was quite a journey at UWC, and I'll share with you things that I still remember from UWC. And Nicole says, yes, please. I assume it's us doing the pranks. And just so you know, if you have a question, feel free to type the question in the chat, whether it's on South Africa, my life, whether it is on the topic for today's how to win 2024, which I'll get to. Or if you want to come live with me on screen, there's a link in the chat in the YouTube live that we're doing also. So we're running this simultaneously with YouTube and Facebook. The link is in the YouTube live section, in the comment section. Unfortunately, I can only put it in over there. So, and you can come with me on screen. We both can kind of see each other face to face. That will be cool. So the other prank that we did was we were in the mall, myself, and for some reason, all these weird stuff always comes to us when we're in the mall. So my cousin and I, we're walking in the mall, and we see about 3 or 4 guys carrying a piece of glass. There was 2 situations. Carrying a piece of glass, you know, those big pieces of glass. Of course, it's fragile, right? And they carrying the glass, and we tell each other, you know, imagine we just start asking them random questions whilst they are carrying the glass. There was another situation where there was guys carrying a fridge. You know, it's these individuals that works in the mall and they're just carrying things from one place to the next, carrying a massive fridge, and we going up to them. But the one with the fridge, we decided not to do it because the guys looked a bit rough, right? Yeah, back in SA, you really have to know your audience. You know who you do nonsense with. Ay. Let's do a quick chat check. I see we have a Glenda in the house. Hey, Glenda, if you're still here, say hi. I see you, Lucinda, Taryn Lee in the house. If you're here, come and say hi in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to share. If you want to come on live with me, click the link in the YouTube live comments as we speak. So Nicole says, I remember how Randall would model through the corridor. How I would model through the corridors. Tell me more. Model through the corridors. That's a ridiculous statement right there, actually. Yeah, Nicole. But if you can prove yourself with specific details, then I know you're not just talking nonsense, right? Let's see. Lucinda says, hey, friend, really just happy you're doing these lives and podcasts. Proud of you, my friend. Lucinda, thanks so much for spreading the good vibes. Yeah, the podcast, I've just started the podcast around 2 to 3 days ago. Now, when I talk about the podcast, I'm talking about these, for those that are listening, I'm talking about what's going on Spotify and Apple Music. And man, the reception that I'm getting there, it really shows that people are still into listening and having that audio experience. I think it's because when you drive to work or before you go to bed at night, you don't want to be watching something. You really just want to be listening. And for me, it's such a joy being able to connect with you like that. It's so intimate. And for me, that's what I like. Speaking about being intimate, what I really hope to do, especially with the YouTube channel, the videos, the long form videos, the 10-minute plus videos, I really want that to be a time where we get even deeper. You see, with the shorts that I do on Facebook Shorts, Facebook Reels, Insta Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, that's very quick. It's very punchy. Hey, this is what you need to do. Hey, you know, it's very to the point, and I can't really do this, right? So if you want more intimacy, go through to the YouTube channel, just my first and last name, and we'll get more intimate. I see Nicole is very is still pondering on what she's talking about, me modeling through the corridors. Let's do a quick chat check. Hey, Colleen. Hey, Melissa. If you are still in the chat, feel free to come and say hi. I'd love to greet you too. So So yeah, those are the fond memories of South Africa. One thing I will say is that when I do plan on going back to South Africa, not just in December of 2023 this year, um, but when I'm done with the Navy in the year and a half, 2025 March, I plan to go back to South Africa, live there for a couple of months, and that I'm really looking forward to, being able to have a spot in SA where we can just set things up creatively. So we almost have like a creative hub, like a creative house. Like, like I know in LA they do that where it's a they call it a creative house or something like that, where you go and all you do is just create content. Let me just go ahead and I'm going to go quickly on Insta Live just to let folks know that we are on right here. And if you're in the chat, make sure to say hi. And if you have any questions, we're going to be talking about the main subject, which is how to win 2020, how to win 2024. Okay, let's go live right here. I still want to see your comments. Okay. You know what? Okay, if I'm on Instagram, I really can't see. But you know what? That's okay for now. We're just going to be on Instagram for about a couple of minutes and we'll get back to Facebook so we can see your comments over there. So if you're on Instagram right now, I'd encourage you to go through to my YouTube channel. Hey Donna, hey Tyler, hey Rooms. If you're on here right now and you want to catch this live, go through to the YouTube. Randall Mitch, all the links are in the bio. Yeah, so that's what I look forward to in SA, man. It's after the Navy, when I go back, having that creative house and having a place where we can just create content in an environment. I told my cousin this. I said, I'd like a spot where the ocean is right there. The ocean is right there when you open the door, when you open the patio door. So for me, that's so important when it comes to the creativity. I believe that there's in different parts of the world, it unlocks different sides of you. So when I'm in SA, it just unlocks a creative side. When I'm here in Canada, it creates or it unlocks a very hustle side where, listen, we've got to, it's very structured, we've got to do this, we've got to nail this. It's very goal orientated over here. That's the side that unlocks over here in Canada. So I really look forward to going back and forth. All right, we're gonna hop out of Instagram. We're gonna come back to Facebook. Yes, boss. Hop over to YouTube. Okay, awesome. Let's go. Okay, wonderful. Awesome. So Nicole says, let's just do a quick chat check. All right, so here we go. So Nicole says, also tell us about UWC. So with UWC, at the University of the Western Cape, where I was, what I remember from the university when I was there was that was a time in my life when I was I was a big nerd. I was very into leadership books, specifically John C. Maxwell. So John C. Maxwell is one of the leading authors when it comes to leadership. And he probably wrote over 50 books on leadership. And my dad had a whole bunch of John C. Maxwell books. And I remember what I used to do was I used to take a John C. Maxwell book with me to the university, and I used to sit in they used to have a pool section where, like a cafeteria section, but it was all the way at the back. You had to walk through a massive field. So you got the university right here, and then you would go all the way to the back. You would have a place called the barn. The barn was where everyone used to drink, and that's the party hub, the party hall. And then on the other side of the field, you really had to walk far. That was where there was a gym, and then next to the gym was a little bit of a cafeteria kind of thing. And I used to sit there and read, and I used to read for hours, man. That was a time I really fell in love with the psychology of how to lead a team, how to interact with people in a way that I was not accustomed to. And when I read it, it was like knowledge that I received, and was like, wow. So one of the quotes that I remember from the book was, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when I read that, let me say that again. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that changed my leadership style when I was in leadership at the time at my dad's church. And it changed my leadership style because now all of a sudden it wasn't about what I knew and what I could do, but it changed my perspective of, hey, people really need to know how much you care, right? And I hope that encourages you when it comes to relationships with friends and family and colleagues. And if you are leading a team at work, for you to remember that, hey, it's not about how much you know, but really it's about them knowing how much you care. So hope that encourages you. Let's have a quick chat check. Hey, Irshad. Hey, Bulelo. If you're still here, make sure to say hi. And if you want to join in live with me on screen, feel free to do that through the YouTube channel. There's a link in the comment section. Follow that link, and you'll be able to come on with me right here. You know, Nicole still hasn't come back as to her comment earlier that says, I remember Randa how I used to model through the corridors. You know, I remember, this is what I also remember from UWC, the University of the Western Cape, when I was there back home in South Africa. I was probably around 22, 21, 22, 23. At that time of my life, I remember being very, very self-conscious of how I looked. And I think this is where she probably got where she was coming from with me modeling through the corridors. Modeling. I was very self-conscious. I remember back then the All Blacks rugby team, the New Zealand rugby team. There was a guy by the name of Jomo Lomo, and he had a hairstyle where in the front of his hair, he had like they call it a kafie, right? In English, it's like a style where you have like a bald head. This was just, imagine this, picture this, and I had this. My head was close to bald, shaven, and in front, I left a piece of hair in front, and I took glycerine soap. Glycerine. I'm not sure if you remember this. Those that's from SA will remember this. It's glycerine soap that essentially allows you to mold your hair with so much firmness. And I used to take it, and my hair, I've got um, so I'm mixed race, right? And, um, I wish I could have done this in post production. I wanted to show you a photo, the only photo I have of me as a baby. And when you look at my hair as a baby, they would call it a coral kop. It's nappy hair essentially. And I used to take the glycerine, and we used to make. And I remember my brother doing this too, right? So he inspired me because he had spikes and stuff. That actually messed my hair up. So we used to take it, and we used to make a kefi. So can you imagine a bald head guy with a little bit of a kefi action, walking around thinking I'm looking cool. But in the meantime, I'm going to see if I can get any photos of that. When I go back home, I'm going to see if I can get any old photos. I need to write that down. I need to watch this back and write that down. Hey, Ryan, if you're still in the chat, feel free to come and say hi. So back to the story. So having the kefi, that was one thing, just one example of how self-conscious I was, really wanting to look cool. I'm not sure if you remember a time in your life when you were younger and how self-conscious we were, always wanting to have, certain brand name stuff, whether it was a pair of tackies, pair of sneakers, Levi jeans. I remember Levi jeans being big, still kind of big. Having, is it Tobagos or Sebagos? If you're watching this right now and you're from SA and you know what I'm talking about, the Sebagos, it's almost like it's like a boat shoe that you wear. You wear this on a boat, right? It's typically for a boat. You wear your white slacks, your khaki pants, you wear Sebagos. And I remember it was a big trend where we wore Sebagos with jeans. Hi. Let's do a quick chat check. See, Scott says, do you remember me? Scott Dominic Nazareth. You know what? I want to go into your profile to see a bigger picture. Your name sounds familiar. Just, Scott, I'd encourage you, if you want to come hop on the live with me, put your camera on. You can come through the YouTube live. It's currently on YouTube as well. So come through to YouTube, click on the link in the chat, come on, and I'll see if I remember you. But if you cannot do that for some reason, just let me know in the chat who, a little bit more about you and who you are, etc. So think about this. 24 years old, that's when I decided to come to Canada. So up until 24, that was kind of how life was back home in South Africa. Now, specifically talking about being very self-conscious. Now, coming to Canada, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring my, my clothing, man, cool clothing. And then when I came here, I looked around. And of course, I was living in Toronto at the time. And I looked around and I'm looking at the people and I'm like, ish, yeah. Whoa. Ai, wat gaan hier aan? Die mense loop rond met orange and geel and people wasn't very it wasn't really fashion driven over here. Unless you go to like your night scene and there you see people, but in day-to-day daytime, because I was always like, hey, if we wear something, it should fit good, it should look good, it should be ironed, whatever, what have you. And then when I came here, I was like, okay, you know what? People are not as invested in fashion as I am. And that taught me such a good lesson that I kept with me moving on. And that lesson was there's other things that is more important than looking good and being fashionable and essentially over obsessing about fashion. I'm not saying looking good is not important, but over obsessing about it. And I had to turn it down a notch. And I turned it down a notch. I was like, you know what? I don't have to have the latest pair Nikes or the latest pair jeans. Chill, chill. Let me just put this to the side. Let me do a quick chat check. So, Scott, what do you say? Met on the streets in Toronto. I'm a mortgage broker with mortgage.ca. If I see your photo, Scott, there's a good chance I'll remember you. But how ironic. Like, can you share with me how we met? Because that will be interesting. I remember being in Toronto, and when living there, I was very much into media space. So I used to work with Rogers TV as a host, on-air host, and I used to do some hosting for the Nikki Clark show. Hey, Nikki. Um, I still remember you and all the times we've had hosting the show. And so what I used to do with Nikki was I used to do two things. So the Nikki Clark show is essentially it's still running right now. It's a show that's on air. Uh, I do believe they do have some social media presence on social media. And they used to have a live audience. So my job was to prep the audience before she comes out and before she does the show. So I used to warm up the audience by going and say, hey, is anyone here from Ajax? Anyone here from wherever in the GTA? Just turn to your neighbor, say, hey, welcome. Let's stand up to our feet. I used to be that individual, and I used to love that because that's me, right? Having that energy and bringing that energy to the crowd. And then the second thing I used to do for her was do interviews. So after the show, the guests that she interviews, I would then do a post interview saying, hey, what was it like being on the show? Any words of advice, etc., etc. So they could also take that footage and put it on their social media and vice versa. So I remember that, Nikki. And if you're watching this and you know Nikki, send her this live. I'd like her to see this. Hey, why did I ask for that? I don't know why I asked for that. Yeah, that was the Nikki Clark show. The Nikki Clark show. Wow. So do a chat check. Okay, wonderful. So let's go to the next part. Let's go to the next part of the segment of how to win 2024. And just so you know, one more time, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And if you want to come live with me on the screen with your camera on, or you can have it off too, come through the YouTube channel. It's live there too as well. The link is in the comments. So let's begin. How to win 2024. Now, I believe we've got to start right now. We've got to start today. We cannot wait for New Year's bells to ring and then we start on our goals. We've got to start on it now. But we cannot start on it now if we don't have this first step in place. So I'm going to give you two major keys in order for you to win 2024. Here we go. The first key. Let me take this off. How to win 2024. Step number one. First step, have a vision. The good book says, my people perish because a lack of vision. In order to get to where you are going to, you've got to know where you are going. And the key here is you're probably thinking, Randall, I'm in this dilemma because I don't know where I'm going in the first place. This brings me to the next category of questions. So it then begs the question, if you don't know what your vision is, it then means that there's a lack of clarity when it comes to your purpose. And I want to share with you 3 questions that you can ask yourself in order to determine and to get one step closer towards your purpose. And it won't keep this very long. We'll get straight to the point with this one. The 3 questions I'd love you to ask yourself and to consider when wanting to discover what your purpose is. So there's 2 situations. You know what your purpose is. And the other situation is you don't know what your purpose. I'm talking to you right now. The first question I want you to consider in discovering what your purpose is number 1, what do you do with ease that is generally hard for others? Let me ask that question again. What do you do with ease that is generally hard for others? There is something that you do so naturally. Now, whether it is big or small, that's irrelevant. I want you to take some inventory right now. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I really want you to dig deep. There's something that you do effortlessly that is typically hard for others. What is that for you? Some people, it might be singing. It might be something artistic. For others, it might be something very analytical, very structural, very business orientated. For others, it might be speaking. It might come naturally to you. For others, it might be writing, creative writing. Speaking about creative writing, for others, it might be creativity. Ideas just flow to you very naturally. And I'm just sharing some ideas right here. For others, it might be you have a level of empathy that is above average. So you really care for people in a way where the typical person wouldn't give two hoots about that same situation. Think about what that is in your life that comes naturally to you, that is typically hard for others. That's number 1. And if you just join the chat right here, a major salute to you for joining. I see we've got Candace Grandwell, Francois in the house. We've got Rose, Joko. Awesome stuff. And Nicole, if you're still watching, let me know about the modeling in the corridors. I'm still on you. I'm not going to let you out. Feel free to ask any question you have for me, whether it's about the topic today or just the other topics such as South Africa or anything in general you'd like to hear from me. If you want to come live on screen with me, feel free to come through the link that's on the YouTube live that's happening also right now. It's in the comment section below. So number 1, first question is, what comes to you very easily that is typically hard for others? Question number 1. Question number 2, what do you think about and can talk about all day long? Let me ask that again. What do you think about and can talk about all day long? If you really think about this, I'm sure you can come up with 2 things minimum that you can talk about all day long. There's currently something that you are thinking about all day long. I'm not talking about issues or troubles. I'm talking about like something that you're passionate about. And whether it's something trivial or whether it's something substantial, there is something that you think about and can talk about all day long. What is that for you? For some, it can be football. It can be the stats of the rugby or the cricket. It essentially can be a sport that you can talk about and think about all day long. For some, it can be books. For some, it can be self-help. For some, it can be biblical. What is that for you? I want you to think about that. So, number one, what do you do effortlessly that is typically hard for others to do? Number two, what do you think about and can talk about all day long? And number three, the final question I want you to ask you that ask yourself that will get you one step closer to finding your purpose is, what do you passionately despise? What do you passionately despise? There is something that gets you going. That is typically not a trigger for most people. Think about this one for a second. What is that thing for you? For some people, it might be organization. Like you just despise being disorganized. Some people, it's punctuality. You just despise it when someone's late, What is that thing for you? Trust me, if you really focus on these three questions, you really examine it for your life, you're going to be shocked at what comes out of this exercise. Let's do a quick chat check. I hope this helped. Let me just wrap this up quickly. So once you've asked yourself these three questions, it then leads you closer to what your purpose is. Once you have that, now you've got step number one, which is have a vision. So that's very broad, I know. Let's bring it in quickly. Have a vision for these areas of your life. Have a vision for your fitness, your physical health. Have a vision. The reason why I'm talking about physical health is because this is a major key. Listen, you can be a millionaire, but if you don't have your physical health, all you want is your physical health. You can have the best marriage in the world, but if you don't have physical health, all you are wanting is your physical health. I'm not saying that other things are not important. It is equally important. Having a great marriage is important. Having money is important. But you get what I'm saying, right? So have a vision for your physical health. Have a vision for your finances. Have a vision for your finances. You might be at zero right now, but if you don't have a vision for your finances, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have an ulterior destination, you're going to stay right there. So my encouragement to you is have a vision for your finances. So fitness, finances, and then have a vision for your relationships. So for example, a vision that I have for my relationships are I have key individuals that's important to me in my life, and I've written them down. And I want you to do the same. So just picture what I'm doing, and I want you to emulate this. Have a list of individuals that you want to communicate with on a regular now. So whether a regular is every day, or whether it is once a week, or whether it is a few times a month. But these are the individuals that if you don't communicate with these individuals, life would just be incomplete. So have a list of individuals that you want to communicate with because you feel like these are the individuals that really makes life fulfilling and complete. Once you have the list of individuals, then set realistic expectations as to how often would I like to communicate with them. So for myself, for me, at least once a week, I want to communicate with individuals on that list. So for some individuals, it's once a week. For others, it's once every 2 weeks. For others on that same list is a few times a month. You see the idea? Essentially, the, it, a month shouldn't go by without you checking in, and it doesn't have to be long communication. All it has to do is to do these two things. You need to ask, are you, like for myself personally, I want to know, are you healthy and are you safe? That's all. It doesn't have to be this long 3-hour conversation where we both just wanting to get over the phone. It can be a simple DM, it can be a simple text, it can be a simple phone call, simple video call saying, hey, just checking in, thinking about you. Just want to know if you're healthy and are you safe? Boom, boom, come back to you. And I tell you what, that really means a lot. In fact, it means a lot to me. And I'm sure that because it means a lot to myself, it means a lot to others. So those are just the two things you need to ask, essential things. If I know that you're healthy and that you are safe, I'm at ease. All right. So have a plan for those 3 areas of life. Just checking the chat right here. I've got it over here. Hey, Ruth. Hey, Nemo. Hey, Candace. Awesome having you guys on here. Just letting you know that if you want to come on the screen with me, feel free to go ahead and let me know you want to hop on, ask a question. I see Facebook has the option where you can actually come on video through Facebook, so you don't need a link. If you are on YouTube right now, you can click the link in the comments, but on Facebook, you can ask me to bring you on. So that's a cool feature, actually. That's a cool feature. Or you can just ask the question in the chat. So speaking about questions in the chat, I see we have a question here. Scott asks, how do you manifest setbacks in your vision and momentum? What a question. And the crazy part about it is that setbacks are inevitable. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Now, I'm gonna answer that question by bringing in the second step to winning your vision, or rather, how to win 2024. So, number one, have a vision, and we share that right now. Step number 2, let's get it over here. There's 2 steps I want to share with you. Step number 2 on how to win 2024. Have an accountability partner. So once you have your vision, I want you to find someone that you trust. And the reason why that's important, why you trust, is because you need to find someone that's reliable. You cannot have someone as an accountability partner that's not reliable. Because number one, they need to keep you accountable. And if someone's not reliable, they're not going to be able to keep you accountable as you need to be, right? So number 2, an accountability partner. And why this is important is because this is going to happen. Your own mind is going to fight you throughout the whole process. It's been happening with myself with this whole journey of starting the brand and really going full force. Every day, my mind is fighting me. It's fighting me to wake up in the morning. It's fighting me to create content. It's fighting me to see how we can grow this business even bigger. Every day, your mind's going to fight you. And the purpose of the accountability partner is twofold. Number one, to keep you accountable, to say, hey, you said you were going to do this today. You can't be giving up right now. So keeping you accountable, number one. But also, number two, when there's no external push, when there's no external force, when there's nothing external, it's very hard to maintain the motivation. Trust me. You can say, no, Randall, I don't need anyone. I'm going to do this on my own. You're going to see how hard it's going to be. And yes, some people can do it on their own. But remember, we are not here. We are not an island. Hence why what I'm hoping to do with this brand is really to have a team around me. So right now it's myself. And of course, with any vision, it's going to start with you, but it's not going to end with me. I'm going to have a team that works with the media side, that helps me with video editing. I'm going to want a team that helps me with sales. I'm going to want a business partner that we will go 50-50 on, especially that business partner that will be able to we can keep each other accountable. So it's going to be important that we have a team. Accountability, it's very important. So the question is, who in your life are you able to reach out and ask to be an accountability partner? For me, ideally, the accountability partner should not be your partner, your romantic partner. Ideally, your accountability partner should not be your spouse or your girlfriend. And I'll share with you why. Your accountability partner ideally, it shouldn't be a friend. It shouldn't be a buddy that you grew up with or a buddy that you just met and you guys kick it, you guys go out over weekends and chill. Ideally, it shouldn't be someone like that. Ideally, it should be someone, it should be like an acquaintance. It should be like a third party. And I tell you why. When you mix an accountability partner with the marriage, with a relationship, you then add more complexity to the relationship. Now you're not only my spouse, you're not only my friend, you're not only my lover, but now you are someone that keeps me, you are now my business partner in a sense of, you know what I mean? I can sense some pushback right here, and if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, I want you to write it in the chats, write in the comments below. Ideally, should be a situation like this. Let's say, but you're probably saying, but Randall, what if my wife, what if my girlfriend is with me in the business and we're doing this together and we're moving forward? My response to that would be, you know what? Ideally, it should be a case of where the two of you are in the business, okay, but now you both have an accountability partner, which is not your spouse. You see, the challenge comes where if your spouse is or your partner is your accountability partner, or your friend is your accountability partner, the challenge here is that once the relationship, once there's issues in the accountability relationship aspect of it, it then overflows to the marriage, it then overflows to the relationship or the friendship aspect. And many tears happen because, you know what, I thought you were going to be my business, I thought you were going to be my accountability partner, but you're not even keeping me accountable no more, you're not calling me no more. You know what, you're not a good friend anymore. Should I even have you as a friend? you know you're not you're not performing in the accountability aspect of things. Why should I keep you around as a partner? You know what I mean? That sounds extreme, but that happens. So ideally, your accountability partner should be someone external. Yes, you may be able to know the person, but you get the idea, right? But then you say, but Randall, I don't know if I can even, I honestly don't know or don't have someone. I don't have someone that I can ask. Then last resort is really having a digital mentor, really having someone that either you can pay ideally to keep you accountable. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things, but one of the best things to do, especially when you part with your money. And now it clicks in your mind, hey, I've got to, I've got to get my ass to work here because I'm paying for this. Let me do a quick check. I see Chantal Mayer says on YouTube, an accountability partner has to be objective. Correct. And they've got to say, just do it. She also says, don't have an accountability partner that pampers your feelings. That's correct. You see, it's very hard when to play multiple roles effectively. As a lover, coming back to this example, as a lover, you wanna console your partner. You wanna say, you know what, it's okay. You know, and then as an accountability partner, it's very polar opposites. On the one hand, you're saying, get your butt and do it. And then the other hand, you're coming home and you're consoling each other. It's a very different dynamic. Now, I'm not saying it cannot be done or it will never work, but just be cautious of and just be mindful. A better word, just be mindful of the different dynamics. See, hey, Taryn is in the house. If you're still here, say hey. Good to see you. Folks from SA coming in strong. So those are the two things I really want you to consider. Really consider these two things. The first step, have a vision, and I broke it down for us about having a vision and how to have a vision, how to asking you those three crucial questions to lead you into what your purpose is. If you don't have a vision, because you've got to have one for 2024. And then lastly, once you have the vision, have the accountability partner as well. There's a few more steps which I'm really hoping to delve into, especially through a YouTube video instead, where I can really spend some time. And I'll share with you the other things that I'm doing personally in order to win 2024. Chat Check says the dailies are saying, what up dailies? I got to get used to saying dailies because, man, we're gonna grow this brand. I tell you. So Chrissy's saying, I agree in that they need to be unbiased and can challenge you with the accountability. Absolutely. Big key for the accountability partner is someone that's not afraid to tell it like it is. Not afraid. Speaking about accountability partners, I see Trevor's in the house. Hey, Trevor, Pastor Trevor, Bishop, Apostle, all the above. So Pastor Trevor used to be my Sunday school teacher, used to, I think, youth leader as well, like on occasions, but more Sunday school teacher. I used to be a Sunday school, so I used to be in Sunday school, and man, I love kids, man. I still love them to this day. Like whenever I see them, yes. Praise God. Praise God. We're gonna have for sure we're gonna have. I always said if I have a girl, I always said I would like a girl one day. I'm putting this in the atmosphere. Come on. Yeah, if I have a girl one day, her name's got to be Stella. I've got that figured out already. I've got a vision. Speaking about a vision, first step. Hey, that mustn't be your vision for 2024. Hey, it's to have a, instead of saying having a vision, he's saying having a baby. Hey, having a vision for 2020, having a, yep, Stella. Okay, let me just get the screen right here. What does Pastor Trevor say? Blessings to you, my brother. Great to see you. Good to see you too, Trevor. Pastor Trevor, you must pay respects where respects is due now. Pastor Trevor, he has a leadership course that I think it's called Eagles Academy that I still want to do, and if it's still happening, let me know, Pastor, if it's still happening, the leadership course, the Eagles Academy. If it's something that is done online where we can zoom in, I'm so on board for that. So Pastor Trevor, so my dad and Pastor Trevor used to be the main pastor and of course the associate pastor, and coming back to Sunday school, I loved kids so much. I felt in my spirit I've got to teach kids. So on Sundays after leading worship, congregation would go out, and afterwards I would grab the microphone. The sound engineer would be at the back. I'm not sure if you're ever watching this, Marlon. You remember this, and if you know Marlon, please send this video over to him. Let him know that. Do the timestamp and let him know that we're talking about the good old memories right here. I used to say, hey, put on the music, the backtrack. The church would go out, the kids would be rushing in, they would still be there after service. We would push all the benches to the back and make a big hole, and the kids would come, and I would be on the stage there with some of the guys, and we used to rock the stage with the Sunday school kids, and that's where it all started, man. And then I decided, Pastor Trevor said, would you like to teach our young kids? So these kids were like probably 5, 6, 7, 5, probably like 3, 4, very young. And they were so adorable, man. So moldable at that age. So much fun. But those were the days. Hey, Malachi, welcome. If you're still on the chat, feel free to say hi. So let's wrap this up. To be frank with you, we don't have to wrap anything up. We can stay here as long as we want, actually. But let me just do a recap. So those were the two things I'd really encourage you to do. To win 2024, please spend some time. First step, having a vision. Second step, find yourself that accountability partner. Yeah, so those are the current events that's happening. So just to recap again, can't wait to be in South Africa, Cape Town on the 31st of December. So it's the day, I think my flight said I'll be there in the afternoon, around 2:00 side. The flight will land. And the flight would land at 2:00. The tradition, whenever I land in South Africa, the tradition is, just to give you some backstory, my cousin and I, my cousin that's currently here in Canada, Bruce, what we always enjoy doing was when we go to Spur. So Spur is like a steakhouse, but a very affordable steakhouse. They do T-bone steaks, and um, it's a family restaurant, right? But they had this white sauce, man. Mm-mm-mm. This white sauce is like it's a Thousand Island sauce, and this sauce, when you put the sauce over fries and you put it over the onion rings. We used to go to Spain. We used to get just a whole bunch. We just get fries. Just can you bring just fries for me, please? And we would pour that white sauce over. We would drench it over like no tomorrow, almost like we have a mission to finish this damn bottle. Now, yeah, coming back to that, when I land in SA, it's probably what we're gonna do. Just for old time's sake, man, let's go to Spur. Get a burger, get a steak, and let's get that white sauce, baby. Let's get that sauce, baby. Just doing a quick chat check. Hey, Alicia, in the house. Feel free to say hi if you're still on right here. I see we have Chantal saying here on YouTube. Super late in SA. And Trevor is her uncle. Oh, that's awesome, man. And he say, it's because you have a bro, probably. What does that mean? A bro, probably? Because I have, what do you mean? Because I have a bro, probably? Let me know. And she says, rather get a Gatsby. Gatsby. Now for those that are not from SA that's watching this, so Gatsby is essentially like when you go to Subway, and okay, it doesn't even compare to a Subway sandwich, but this is the concept. It's a long Subway sandwich. It's probably like this big, like average size of a Gatsby to this big. And it's probably like this of a size in terms of the width and the height. So you can imagine a Yelsa Dingsus D, a massive. So in that Subway sandwich, you have the core of that Subway sandwich, of that Gatsby. And I want you just to share in the chat, what's your favorite Gatsby? Because I'd be interested to know. So the base of a Gatsby is fries. So you can imagine you got the bun, which is carbs. The base of the Gatsby, it is carbs. Of course, we don't worry about that stuff, right? Diet starts next year. And then they then have a protein. So the protein, you have a choice of protein. Okay, so you have a choice of protein. And the protein, you can either have chicken, you can either have steak, you can either have polony, sausage, polony like ham, sausage like a Vienna sausage. You can either have egg. And then on top of it, you have a protein. And then on top of it, you have your salad. So you have your cucumber, you have your lettuce, you have a tomato. Then on top of it, you have. And then on top of it, you have your sauces, right? So a big sauce that's over there is your Peronaise sauce. So Peronaise is a word that is a combination of mayonnaise and peri peri. Peronaise. Bow. Look at that. Or you can have barbecue, you can have mayonnaise, you can have ketchup, you can have chutney. But now this is the punchline. You've got the fries, right? Okay, so also the sauces, but also you have the spices. So now you have, I don't know what spices there are, barbecue spice, you've got your onion spice, you've got your green onion spice. Yeah, nah, green onion slaps, young. Yeah, nah. So you got all these things, the bun, the fries, the lettuce, the sauces, the spices. Now this is the kicker. And I hope you can hear me properly right here. The kicker is, and I'm going to get to the comments section below because I want to hear what you have to say about what your favorite Gatsby is. And also how where you enjoy eating a Gatsby. This is key. Where you enjoy eating it, and also what you enjoy drinking with it. So I'm going to check the comments very soon. Where you enjoy eating it, and what do you enjoy drinking with it, and of course, what your favorite Gatsby is. But I think even more important, please let me know this in the comments. Where exactly do you enjoy getting your Gatsbys? Because this is key. The place you get your Gatsby is really what determines the quality of the Gatsby. So, but let me get back to the kicker. Let me get back to the kicker. The comments are gonna be I'm gonna enjoy the comments right here. I can already see it. We're gonna have to get a daily driven water. We're gonna have to get daily driven daily water. What's with the logo on? A t-shirt in the background. We're gonna get all that stuff. But for now, we're just enjoying ourselves, right? So this is the kicker, and we're gonna get to the comments right away. The kicker here is for the protein. You don't just have to have one protein. So you don't just have to have a chicken. You don't just have to have a steak or a bologna. You can have as many. So there's a thing called the Full House Gatsby. So picture this: the bun, the fries, egg, chicken, bologna, salad, spices, sauces. Man, can you picture ending a day off or having it in mid-afternoon? Just something like that. Okay. You know what? We're going to talk about food all day. Hey, Deirdre. Hey, Ralph. If you're on here, still on here, feel free to say hi. Make sure to let me know you are here. So in the comments below, it's saying, so Chanel, what do you say? Chantal is saying Gatsby with steak and everything else. Yeah, man, a nice steak. And you would think the steak would be Thai. You think the steak would be challenging to consume in English. It falls off, baby. And she said, I was referring to the fact that you wanted a daughter earlier. Yeah, like earlier we're talking about one day I would like a daughter because I think we're a lot of boys in the family. However, my cousin just has a new baby girl, so congrats. So there's a girl in the family. I'll do a little girl action myself, of course, God willing. John September says, hi, Randall, keep in touch. Pick n Pay Paro Seafood. Okay, Pick n Pay Paro Seafood. I remember 2 years ago when I was back home going to a seafood place there, just getting some fish and chips, and it was good. Why is it? Tell me, why is it that back home in South Africa, Portuguese-owned fish and chip spots are the best? Like, why? Specifically for fish and chips. I'm not sure about the Gatsby piece because I know our people make the best Gatsbys. AKA Wembley, aka what's the other one? What's the other one, man? Golden Dish. Is that still on top of the list? Because I know that's a legendary place. But sometimes legendary places are just legendary because of the name and what it was in the past, but sometimes it falls off. Let me know if Golden Dish is still where it's at. So John says, Pick and Pay seafood steak polony masala. UW's great memories. Yeah, UWC, great memories, man. Okay, so I also asked the question, what's the best beverage to have whilst what's the best beverage to have whilst eating a Gatsby? Chantal says, a Stony with my Gatsby. Just for those that are popping in right now, a warm welcome to you. I'm so glad you joined. Right now, we're just shooting. We're just fooling around. We're just vibing right here, right? We're talking about a Gatsby from South Africa. Gatsby is like a Subway sandwich, but this has fries, it has steak, it has all your kind of proteins with your salads and your spices and sauces. It's a big thing in South Africa. I plan to go in December. I'm just wondering where is the best place, what to have it with, and what scenery is best to do a Gatsby. Hey, Angelique. Hey, David. Hey, Sachin. Hey, Ralph. Say hi if you're in the chat. Let me know you're here. All right. So a Stony ginger beer. So Stony is a ginger beer. Okay. You know what I used to enjoy, and I want to try. I want to try it again because I think I would like it. Having fruit latte. A fruit latte. Mense, a cabana. Ian, man. I need music on the show to be playing in the background. That's one thing I'm going to look into, getting music in the background. But some fruit latte action, man. Some cabana action. Okay. So it also says in the chats, and if you are in the chat, feel free to ask me any question, whether it's about me personally or whether it's about life in general, any questions you have, even on the topic. And even if you're watching on the replay, make sure to ask the question. I'll check the comments and answer it either on a video or directly in text on your comment. So tasty Gatsby's are usually not found in fancy restaurants. Yes, Gatsby's are typically found in your corner stores on the main roads, where late nights after you come from, if you go clubbing, after you go from the club, after you come from church, after you come from youth group, after you just spend some time with your family and friends, and you want to have a date, you want a cup of bat. That's what we used to say, cup of bat. Denzel, share this with Denzel. If you know Denzel Sunday, let him know that we're talking about cupping a bat. You would go there, you would park your car, and this is how you would typically do it. This is how I would typically do it. Let me know where you would typically do it and what's the ideal location. You would drive to the place, order the Gatsby, wait. Whilst you wait, that's also another experience, So many people around. The cars are parked. People are chilling at their cars. Your Gatsby's ready. Grab the Gatsby, and then you would take the Gatsby, unravel it. But before you unravel it, the person that gives it to you would ask you, cut in, and then you would you would say, cut in. You're probably wondering, what am I saying, cut in? The Gatsby is so big, you've got to cut it in slices. You've got to cut it in sections. You can't just have a whole Gatsby and eat it yourself. Then you were frat, then you were glutton, man. Don't do that, man. You've got other people there, man. There's people starving in Africa, man. Don't do this. So so someone would say, cut in. You would say, hey, cut in 2, cut in 3, cut in 4. If there's a lot of people and you guys are on a budget, cut in 5. If it's a tight month, cut in 6. Hey, if you're unemployed, cut in 7. You get the idea, right? And then you would take it. And I'm coming to the chats right here again. You would then take the Gatsby, you would then lay it over the bonnet. So, either the bonnet or the boot. So you would take the Gatsby, you would say, fellas, let's go. You lay it, you spread it wide open. You open the paper so it comes in the white paper. Guys, why are we undressing a Gatsby? I need to be sponsored with a Gatsby when I'm back home. I need to do an unraveling of a Gatsby when I'm back home, just so you can see what I'm talking about. And we'll come back to the channel and we'll show it. We'll show it right there and then. You would lay it open, unravel it like a baby that is newborn. You unravel that Gatsby. You put it on the bonnet. And then, guys, so this is key. This is Gatsby etiquette 101. And let me know if you do the same thing. And I'm coming to the comments right here. If you are listening to this, let me know what you like drinking with it, where you like eating it, and what's your favorite Gatsby. I'm sharing with you mine right now, and I'll come to you. So before you guys dig in, the different sections of the Gatsby is very important because it shows a level of, this is like a hierarchy system. I don't know why this is the case, but certain sections of the Gatsby really, you know who you are in the friend group when you get a certain side of the Gatsby. So when you get the end, if you get the end of the Gatsby, it means that they don't value you. They don't value you a lot in the friendship. Your value in that relationship is very low. And if this happens to you, you need to really sit down with your partner and really ask them a few pivotal questions of, what is my role in your life that I got the end of the Gatsby? And I tell you why, the end of the Gatsby is typically the hardest part of the crust, man. If it's a poor Gatsby, if it's a good quality Gatsby, it's not so much. But when you get the end, it's hard. There's typically not a lot of fries on there, not a lot of ingredients. But when you get the centers, whether it's cut in 4, you got the 2 ends and 2 middles. Or when you get cut in 3, it's not that bad when you cut in 3, right? But when you cut in 4, if you're ever going out and it's 4 people eating Gatsby, this is a true test. And the middle is important because the middle is usually the softest. It usually has most of the ingredients in there, right? And if you get the middle, it means that you are doing something right. It means that you are worthy to have an opinion in that relationship. Let me take how to win 2024 off because we're talking a whole lot of smack right here. But I like this. Alrighty. Okay, so let's get to the chats quickly. Let's see. So John says, Gatsby Athlone, Gatesville, Golden Plaza, 3 a.m. in the morning after clubbing. Yes, sir. Come on. And this is the beauty about Cape Town. Like, the food places are open till late. Hey, North America, eh? Ish. Yeah, you want to come here? Yeah. Just kidding. There's so much benefits. There's pros and cons everywhere, right? I can feel the carbs just talking about it. Yes, Chantal. So Chantal says, Eastern Food Bazaar. Okay, is that where you get your Gatsby from? Is that a good place? Eastern Food Bazaar. Hmm. John says seafood Gatsby, bruv, steak Gatsby. FYI, Stony is sugar free. I know we when I was back home, I got a sugar free ginger beer. It's Stony there. It's called Stony. It's not the same. It's not the same. Eh? Sugar free means taste free. Eh? It means smaak free. Seafood calamari chips tartar sauce cut in 4. Yes, sir. That just flowed off my tongue. So good, man. So good. Okay. Okay. For all those that's just joining in, a warm welcome to you. Hey, Michael. Hey, David. Feel free to let me know you in the chat. Come and say hi. If you want to come live on with me, you can also do so. I can enter you in and we can chop it up. But yeah, that's the Gatsby experience. And I plan to do these lives at least once a week, where we can just chop it up. I'm probably going to do it much more, but once a week minimum. Once a week minimum. Allow me just to put a couple of things on screen here. There we go. Also, just to let you know, a couple of details here. As you can see, it's flowing on the screen. Make sure if you want to listen to the podcast, the audio podcast is a special podcast just for Spotify and Apple Music. It's not me repurposing clips and just putting the audio files on Spotify. It's specifically for Spotify, so you're getting a totally different experience on there. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe, whether you enjoy Spotify or whether you enjoy Apple Music. Make sure to follow. And when you follow and you're enjoying the podcast, make sure to leave a rating, leave an honest rating. Also leave a comment, because those things really brings the podcast up in terms of searchability for others. So the more ratings we have, the more follows we have and comments, we get to be more visible. And of course, once we're more visible, more people follow, and so we grow, and so we become number one on those platforms. And then number two, I'm going to leave all these links on this video above, when you can apply, fill in, sign up for the free newsletter. We do once a week. All we need is your name and email. And of course, we have the YouTube channel, my first and last name. We're going to pumping out videos there. We're a bit more intimate there in the YouTube channel. And then, of course, all over the social medias, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Please follow my Facebook page, Randall Mitchell, not this one that you're seeing the live in right now. I'm going to put the link to my Facebook page on top. This Facebook page is dedicated to the Driven Daily message. So every day you will get shorts on there that will blow your mind. I've really taken the shorts game to the reels to that next level in terms of just the quality and the content, because I believe you deserve something that you are proud of being a part of. So I want to encourage you, follow me on the Facebook there in particular for daily content. I come on this Facebook just to chop it up like this once in a while. But if you want that daily content, go through to the other Facebook page. And of course, the TikTokers out there and Instagram, feel free to follow me over there as well. Awesome. Hey, Michael. Hey, Lance. If you're on here, feel free to say hi. We were just talking earlier on about Gatsby's. Now, I plan to be in South Africa, in Cape Town, on on the 31st of December until the 11th of January. And I was just sharing with them, like, sharing with us, like, things I enjoy about Cape Town and Gatsby. So one of them, John says here uh, and if you're on here and still want to share what your favorite Gatsby is, where do you prefer eating it, and what do you enjoy drinking with it, let me know as well. He said, quarter liners here in Pretoria, bruv. Quarter loaf egg sauce, sausage, chips, extra. Yeah, man, the chip roll extravaganza. One thing I will say about Cape Town is die ding moet 'n mens met al twee hande hou, joh. Keep it with two hands, because massive. I remember being in Cape Town. This was probably 3 years ago, and I want to share with you one experience that choked me up. It literally brought a tear to my eye. As I'm talking about this, I want you to think about what in your country, whether it's in Canada or, or Cape Town or South Africa, really gets you. I remember taking the red bus for the very first time. The red bus. This bus takes you through the major tourist attractions in Cape Town. So it takes you through Cape Town CBD. It takes you through, and you probably know this, it takes you through Hout Bay. And the beautiful part about this is when it takes you through CBD, you've got earphones in. And this happens probably all around the world too. And when you have your headphones in, it's topless bus, headphones in, sitting on top. You're getting the sun, you're getting the scenery. And in your ear, they are sharing with you the different sites we are seeing right now. So we're going through Cape Town CBD, sharing with us Long Street. Then we come to Hout Bay. One thing about Hout Bay that stood out for me was when we drove across Hout Bay, you could literally see the divide between the haves and the have-nots, right? And that stood out for me. So we're driving and we can see a literal divide. We see the haves and the have-nots, million-dollar homes and the squatter camps. And then this was the moment that choked me up. We came around this corner. And when we came around this corner, what I witnessed was so majestic. We came around the corner and I witnessed two things: a massive mountain that is right in your face. It's like so close, a massive mountain. And at the same token, a massive ocean. So can you picture this? You're driving, you're seeing the squatter camps, you're seeing the million-dollar homes, and then you make this turn. And if you've ever been on this trip, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You make this turn and you see, boom, the massive mountain. And then you look to the left and the right, you see a massive ocean. And the ocean is so massive, it goes so far into the horizon. And that's what made it even more special. It was like a never-ending sight. And I was on that bus and I shed a tear because it was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And for me, it just made me fall in love with my home country all over again. Whenever I go back home, I fall in love with my home country all over again, specifically Cape Town. One thing I enjoy where I live in Kensington, when you walk outside your door, you can see one of the wonders of the world, which is a Table Mountain. And for me, being able to see that on a daily basis, whenever I'm back home, it's priceless. It's priceless because it does something. I truly believe it does something to your mind when you can see something that is so majestic. It really does something to your mind, man. Let me do. I'm glad I shared this with you because it's really something that's close to my. That's a memory that I'll never forget. And if you are in Cape Town and you haven't done that red bus experience, I would encourage you to do that. It's interesting because as a Cape Townian living there for 24 years, I didn't do any of those major events like going to Table Mountain um, and the bus. And whenever I go back, I make sure I do that. And man, you fall in love. I know things are very pricey, especially for locals. Um, but put that on your bucket list before you know before you go up there, before you go to heaven. Make sure to check those places out, especially that red bus experience. Ah, man, Chantal says I was just about to ask, have you ever thought about the topic and maybe giving people a rundown of what being colored means? Huh, interesting. Hmm. Yeah, nou dis 'n topic wat 'n hele video sal maak. Like this is a topic that you can talk about for ages. But since you've asked, let me just touch on it. And the question that she asked was giving a rundown of what being colored means. Okay. So typically in South Africa, and and I'm not a historian, and I haven't been, I typically just go once a year. But based off my 24 years of knowledge of back home when I lived there, and whenever I go back home every year, um, Cape Town is. I'll start off with saying this: Cape Town is very, it's very, it's become very diverse. Back in the day, when I was a kid, all I saw and all I was exposed to was seeing Caucasians, seeing black people, and seeing a mixed race. We call it colored back in Cape Town. I know it's a derogatory term here in North America, but if you colored, you understand. If you're from South Africa, you understand. But just for this, we'll say mixed race. And I was typically just exposed to that. And every year when I go back, um, it's much more diverse now. So now um, we have a much more influx of other African countries, which we love. Of course, there was the uprising um, of locals not enjoying the presence of other African nationals, but I digress. And then in South Africa, we have a large Indian population, and over the years, we've got now a large Chinese, a large Asian community. We've got our own Chinatown and malls and everything. Some people like it. Well, some people don't. Some people like it because it's very affordable. Those prices, and a lot of diversity when it comes to the things we can purchase. So it's very good for the economy. And of course, some people don't like it because they thinking, um, for many reasons they don't like it. So coming back to the question, and as I answer this question, I want you to think about also, because I want to ask you the question, um, what is your experience being colored right now? Not back in the day when there was a lot of there was in your face segregation. However, what is it like right now being colored? And I want you to not just give a negative. I want you to give for every negative you give, I want you to give a positive. So because it's not going to be a negative fest right here. So for every negative, I want you to give a positive. Where was I? So for me, coming back to the question, what does colored mean being to me being colored? I want to give you an honest answer and a very transparent answer. I'll lead off with saying, as a colored individual growing up, I just want to talk about it being just as a I'm going to give a meta example. Because Caucasian, and this is typical, and this is me not, this is coming from a good place. Caucasian individuals, they in South Africa, they've got their own culture, they've got their own way of doing things. The black community, they've also got their own culture, the way of doing things. They've got different tribes, different languages they speak. They've got their own culture of doing things. As a colored individual, we also have our own culture and own way of doing things. The challenge, though, is that as a colored individual, you typically can swing both ways in terms of you take a little bit of the colored, you take a little bit of the Caucasian side of things, you take a little bit of the black side of things, and I think each race also does this as well. We take different ways of doing things from all races. I think the challenge, though, is that, and this is not a challenge for everyone. It's a challenge that I've experienced, but many others has also experienced, is that because we fit in both groups, but we're also not typically or used to be accepted in both groups. It's very different now. Maybe it's the same, but there has been major progress. I'm just talking about my experience back then, because we take experiences from all three races, but we don't really fit in because we're not really the race. We're in between. There's a little bit of an identity search that I had to go through. I think it was a little different for myself, especially coming over to Canada at 24, no longer being in that environment back home. I had to now have even more of an identity search, because I had to figure out, who am I now? Because people here in North America, they want to know, so, hey, where are you from? What's your background? And this is a question that really got me down this rabbit hole. What is your background, they would ask. And when somebody asked me back in the day, what is my background? I couldn't say I'm colored or I'm mixed race, because back home, that's how we identify ourselves as. But in North America, we really had to go more in detail. Like, okay, so really tell me, okay, so what's your background? I couldn't just say I'm colored. This forced me to do my ancestry DNA. And I tell you what, let me actually, since we're on this topic, let me see if I've got my ancestry DNA. Let me see. I've got it here, my ancestry DNA. Because before I searched for my DNA, ancestry DNA. I used to tell people, well, my dad's more fair skin and my mom's more dark skin. That's why I'm this skin color. And for some people, it may have, it made sense, but for others, they wanted more. And I also wanted more because over here in North America, if you ask people, so where you from? So you can clearly see you are Filipino, you are Indian, you are Asian, you are Caucasian, you are Caribbean, you are Trinidadian, you are Guyanese. But with myself, it's like, I can't just say my skin color now. I need to go deeper. Hence why I went into ancestry. And when I did my ancestry, this is what came out. Let me just see if you. No, this is not going to work. Let me just share it with you. And this shocked me because I always thought, because I'm from South Africa, I'm 100% African, or at least close to 100% African. But what came out of this was 22% Khoisan, AKA, and Bantu peoples. I know what the AKA is. If you know what AKA is, let me know in the chat. So 22%, and then 16% Southern Bantu peoples. So that's a total of 38% African. 38% African. Then 9% Southern Italy, 8% Southern Philippines, 8% England and Northwest Europe, 6% Sweden and Denmark, 4% Southern Indian, 3% Cameroon, 3% Levant, 3% Philippines, 2% Nigeria, 2% Bengal. Just to give you the highlights, you could say about 40% African. Let's say 42% African. And then let's say 10% Italy, 10% Philippines, and the rest European. So that shocked me because I then discovered I'm only around 40 to 45% African. Man, if you are from South Africa right now and you're listening to me, I'd encourage you to do ancestry. And I'm not sponsored by this video, but if you could do that, I wouldn't be surprised if you are also shocked at what your percentages are also. Let me do a quick chat check right here. Let me see. So Chantal, what do you say? You say, I'm colored, so I understand what it means, but the world may not understand. That's true. Okay. Oh, to share that, I'll have to call in. So if you want to call in, you would need to, I'm going to put the invite link right here. And just let me know in the comments if you still want to call in or if you just want the me to read off the. So Chantal, the link is in the chat right there. On Facebook, hey BK, the man. If you're still on here, feel free to let me know that you're here. Send me a hey. I'd love to greet you personally. So Chantal also says, okay, I'll just chat. If she want to call in. Nah. Okay. If you don't want to come on, that's okay. But I'd encourage you, take that leap of faith and call in. Call in. It would be cool to have a chat. But you said as a colored, remember not all colors are connected to black or white. My granny was Malay. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's an interesting question. What's your experience like being a colored? And maybe I need to do a separate live for that. It's definitely interesting questions that I hope to do on the lives. And if you're watching this on the replay, let me know a topic that you'd like me to do. Cool. I don't know how long. So we've been on because I have genetics. So I'd encourage you, click on the link. I'll hook you up, and you can come through. And if you are watching this also right now, and if you want to come in live with me, whether asking a question or just chopping it up, the link is in the YouTube comment section, and also on Facebook. You can just let me know, and I'll bring you on via the video. Yes, Christy, 2 hours. I'm like, ish. 2 hours. Yeah, this is what it's like when you talk about subjects that is really dear to your heart, and especially this is what it's like when you have this kind of community going, and you know what, we may not have millions of subscribers, but for me that's not important. For me, what's important is that there's quality over quantity. I rather have a few solid people in my corner. Jesus only had 12. If I can just get 12 disciples, come on, preach it, Bishop. Yeah, 2 hours. But hey, I think we're gonna call it a night. If you're on this chat right here, I'd want you to send me your best wishes and let each other know in the chat a big good night. Let's not just leave each other's houses and not say good night. You got to say good night, damn it. Know from my heart to yours, know that I love you, know that I care, and I want you to know that we are not here just to survive. We are here to thrive. And today we spoke about a lot of topics. We spoke about me coming back home to Cape Town, a couple of my favorite things to eat in Cape Town. We spoke about Gatsby's. We really spoke about Gatsby's on this one. Some of the scenery in Cape Town. We also touched on accountability piece, the vision piece, how to win 2024. And that's my desire for you, is out of all the fun that we had, just know that I'm really here to see a difference, not just in my life, not just in your life, but everyone that you care about as well. Let me see what the guys are saying. Good night, Chantal. Good night, Christy. I see we have Carlos just joining in. I see, hey, Johnny. Johnny just joined in right now. You coming in on the last leg. A big shout out to you, Johnny. Hope you're doing well, you and the family. Stay driven. Learned a lot from you, Johnny, especially when it comes to your leadership style, the way you interact with individuals, and how you just allow people to feel comfortable in your presence, knowing that you might be a high rank, you might have titles, but you really come down and let people know that, hey, I see you as a human being, not just a title. So major salute to you. And yes, you're the man, boss. You on duty, hang in there. Hang in there, boss. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you in the next live. Otherwise, catch me on the social medias, TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, or rather Facebook. I'll leave all the links in the bio. So you can come back, click on the bio, and you can, or rather click in the description and you can see everything. Until next time, peace.